patience. I need patience.
Give me just a second. I'm almost there. But we with you.
No rush. No rush.
We with you. You know, we out here getting the walk in before we get the talk in.
Yeah. No rush. You didn't rush before because of me, right? I was patient with that. No rush.
I love how punctual you are, Nabiha. You're so punctual.
Oh, really?
You know, it's so punctual the way that you're so punctual.
Yeah, I was out walking too, but then it got too cold, so I went back to the car. I wanted to sit somewhere outside in nature. I was doing, your qigong. It energized me. Oh my God.
Oh
Thank you for
yeah?
holding that space, by the way. Really, it's not just qigong, it's therapy. It's like I go on this therapy session every morning and it's beautiful. Thank you. Like I know everybody who is in that group agree with me, you know. It's
Um,
not just qigong. You make us laugh every morning. It's like
you
it's hmm?
you said what every
You
morning?
make us laugh and then,
Uh,
it's a healing.
you know, laughter is medicine. You know that.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that's not
laughter.
real tattoos, it's henna.
Oh, she got the henna.
Yeah, it's some henna.
She got that henna on her. She got tatted. Nabiha got tatted.
Yeah, tattoo, right? If I was like walking around with a lot of tattoos, yeah. No, I like change, so I can't do tattoos like that. I like to change.
You
So
like
if I had this
change.
one type of tattoo, it would drive me crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, really, like it would drive me crazy. If I had this on all the time, it would be boring, right? So henna is like you can change it around. You can make like different art. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, if
Yeah,
there's
I have
one
it on
thing that
my
you are, if there's one thing you're not, that's boring. You know.
boring is like what create boring though? What create boredom when you can create like excitement? Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you were energized. You know that you found it energizing today. You know,
The qigong, no, that's beautiful. Thank you, really.
of
Yeah.
course, it's my pleasure.
You on time. Like
It
every
is
it's like 8 a.m. for me. For some people it's maybe like later. But for me it's 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Been
just
ready.
being.
You've been
She said, I've been
ready.
ready. She said, I was born ready.
Yeah.
Oh my
How's your
gosh.
day?
My day is ever evolving, ever expanding, you know. I'm just enjoying it right now. The sun is out. The sun's been blessed. Ada, how's it going? The sun's been blessing us, the sun in the sky. We just, we're just bringing in the light,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
The sun is out here too. It's
Hmm.
hiding behind the clouds, but it's coming out soon.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming
It's
out.
coming.
The sun is always on time.
Always.
Yeah.
It's never late.
I've never I used to think about that when I was a kid. I was like, this sun is always on time. It's never late. I like to be on time and I like people to be on time. But people who are never on time, I know how to handle them too. You know. Yeah, I've learned really because I like to be on time. So if they say like, let's be 12 o'clock, that means like 1. So I'll be there 1.
Is that how you handle them?
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, right? But
Okay.
it works every time. They say 1, I go there 2.
Mm.
That's what it means in their head. Yeah.
Hmm.
And if you're there before them, it makes them think they're late, so you come after them.
That's so interesting you say that, Nabiha. Both of my parents are military, so they both served in the army.
Hmm.
And they kind of instilled something to the effect of if you're early, you're on time, but if you're on time, you're late, you
Hmm.
know?
It's
Something like,
true.
yeah.
I believe that too. you know, if I'm going somewhere, or maybe earlier than the time I was scheduled, because
Mm.
anything can happen. Even if you get there, anything can happen. Maybe the elevator is not working. How do you know? You know, so like 5 minutes, 10 minutes earlier, that's perfect. Yeah, they serve
Right.
in Germany too, right? Germans are very on time.
Oh, for sure. That's what I've heard. You
Yeah.
know, that's definitely what I've heard. You know, there was a post you put up today, actually, and you were in meditation. It talked about being present,
Hmm.
and there was a message in there that I found so profound. It was nice. It was really enjoyable the way that whatever guided meditation you were listening to or whatever was in the atmosphere, she was talking about being in the present moment being a remedy for stress and anxiety, and how anxiety and stress can sort of melt away when you place yourself in the present. Have you ever dealt with anxiety and stress in the way that people do commonly?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
There were times, you know, where the body is doing, but it's not the mind anymore. The anxiety, I feel like it's more you program yourself, and it's the body that will react later. Like that was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced was anxiety. I've never had it before, but I experienced it late in life, and it was like my body was doing something, but my mind wasn't even connected to it.
Why was that the weirdest thing that you've experienced, anxiety?
Because normal things that happen to me, they're connected to the mind, but this one was like out of my control, kind of. Even the mind couldn't capture it. It was the body just doing something, like a shake, or when you get like my heartbeat would just go boom boom, like, and I don't have any control over it. But and the mind is not even connected, so it just appears out of nowhere. That's what I feel like anxiety is, something that I don't have. It just appears because of it's just programmed in the cells.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you said you would have heart palpitations.
Hmm.
Your heart would start beating.
Yeah, maybe your blood even drops sometimes. I think it's different experience for different people. But
Hmm.
that's what I have experienced. It was just out of my control. Other things are connected to my mind. So like it's an alert. It's gonna happen. But this is what it just appears.
And when it just appeared, when did it eventually disappear? Like, what would you have to do? Would you have to do something for it to disappear?
Yeah, being present, really, that helps. Like being sitting still with it. And the more I sit still with it, that's when I knew, like, oh my God, this is something in me. There's this fear inside of me that needs to be worked with. And that fear was just acting on its own without my control. So then when I sit down with it, I acknowledge it and I know what it is. I just let go. That's when you realize that you're actually just rushing everything in your life, and you're making the body even react with, without your control. I don't know how to explain it, but that was the weirdest experience I've ever had, was anxiety.
Okay, and what is that relationship you have with that fear today? Does that fear still linger at times, or do you feel like it's completely gone? Because when you say that you had no control, you know, do you feel that you have control over it today, or is it like you've let go
Oh,
of
I
control?
let go. I understood it. Like it's like when I sit with it, I knew what it was. I knew it was just not real. It was just something I was creating. So now there's no way it can attack me. I can't have no anxiety attacks now because I'm aware of what it is. I'm aware of it. It's like
Okay,
I don't worry anymore.
so you say it was the lack of awareness
Hmm.
that gave you that anxiety in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing else but lack of awareness. But because if you know that you can't rush the future, why would you even be like excited about it when you realize there is no future to to rush to? I don't have that anxiety anymore because all of that is not real to me anymore. It was the realness of it that made, the stress that created that. So if it's not real anymore, there's no way I get it, attacks.
Okay, so it's almost like once you're able to name it, then you no longer have to claim it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you know what it is, it can't harm you.
Yeah, it's like, believing in a monster. And then when you realize it was just a doll, in the dark, you're not scared of it anymore. It's the same feeling. Like, no, even depression, it's the same thing. I can't get depressed about something. I can stop myself and be like, okay, let's not go into that hole, because it's just going to drag me somewhere. But once I acknowledge it, I can stop it. Of course, it comes to you, but you can stop it by remembering what it is.
Okay, so you spoke about like, having a doll in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And was there ever a doll in the dark growing up when you were younger? Many people have different things in the shadows or things in the closet, or things underneath the bed, right? The monster underneath the bed. What was a superstition that you might have had when you were coming up?
Ooh, I was scared of the dark. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
still scared of the dark because I can create all these shapes and all these monsters in the dark. I used to do that. I used to create my own monsters. And then I will realize, like, but I created it. Life is just like that too. So if I think about it, because I used to create all these monsters in the dark, and then I would get scared. And then I realized, like, but I just created it because when the light comes on, there's nothing there. And then it get dark, and then I create something. So it was just me creating monsters that I was scared of. I don't know, but every shape, yeah.
It's like when you're walking down an alleyway or walking down a street, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of your eye, you might see something below you, and it looks like a snake. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're like, whoa, right? You jump back, but then when you kind of like really look at it, it's like a water
Yeah,
hose.
I know.
You
I've
know,
experienced those.
it was
I've experienced those. Yeah.
it was a hose the whole time. And it's like you reacted, the adrenaline got pumping, the heart
Mm-hmm.
started
Mm-hmm.
pumping, thumping, but it was
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. It sounds like just like in the dreams. You can when you dream, you can have this horrible dream, and then when you wake up, you still have the feeling. But when you realize it's a dream, it goes away. So does things have to be real for us to actually react that way, or do we just make them real and we still have the same feelings, same reactions? You know, like that little water hole, like you would have the same experience as a snake. You get the fear like a snake, but it wasn't a snake. So the fear is within us.
I agree, sir. I agree. So what you said is so profound. You said we create our own monsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I do.
so like morally, yeah.
We do.
So in more ways than one, we're like creating that for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Our sufferings, all sufferings, is basically created by us.
Okay.
How we react on things is also a form of creation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so everything we in control of it actually, but we create our own suffering. Really,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So to be able to flip that, when you flip the script and you say, just like they say there is a placebo,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also a nocebo. And nocebo says, okay, someone can make themselves sick. But if you can make yourself sick, you can make yourself healthy.
Yes, logical. There's no rocket science in that. That's logical to me. Like if I can make myself scared and feel like this way, I can make myself happy. Like by creating happy thoughts, by creating more positive thoughts. But I don't know. I think we are just designed to just be harming ourselves somehow. I don't know, because it's easier for us to do the things that harms us than the things that makes us thrive. It's super easy to do anything dark somehow on ourselves. I don't know why.
So you said it's easier to move towards the darkness
I think we are designed that way.
for darkness.
It's not only darkness, but it's just like to hurt ourselves. It's like we put all the obstacles in front of ourselves. So if we can create all of that, why can't we just create the happiness and the joy and the things that we want? You know, if you tell someone like sometimes if I offer someone fruits or anything that is their health or herbs or something like that, they will question like, what's in this herb or blah blah blah, you know. But other things that harm them, it's just they just go automatically. It's just the mind is just, I don't know, the mind is wired that way.
When you said it, Nabiha, it sounded like there was like a flaw in our design,
Mm-hmm.
or like in our mental makeup. The way that we function, the way that we're programmed or designed is geared towards this, almost like a self-sabotage mechanism.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, that's what it is. We are just conditioned that way. It's weird, but yeah, that's exactly what I think it's just maybe we get hurt so much that we just used to that. I don't know, I don't know. But really, we like to hurt ourselves.
You know, you made a point there that we get used to pain or get used to being hurt, and therefore we might hurt ourselves. I remember one time my dad told me he was in a brief, a brief relationship with
Okay.
a lady, and the reason why this relationship was so brief was because she enjoyed pain.
Ooh, yeah.
And you know, they talk about sadist and masochist. And there's a sadist, or someone who is sadistic, will take pleasure in giving others pain or causing others pain or others experiencing pain, while a masochist will take pleasure in their own pain or receiving pain
Mm-hmm.
or being in pain. And she was in that masochism type phase where she felt that if he didn't hurt her, if he didn't hit her,
Well,
that he didn't love her.
yeah, I've heard something like that before.
And he said, I had to get out of the relationship. I had to get out of that. I had to get out of I had to get out of that.
Yeah,
You know?
that was brief.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah,
brief, you
yeah.
know.
Wow.
But he recognized it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, how they say, like, when people show you who they are, you should believe them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the first time. So
Sure.
she showed him a glimpse into her world, and that she had linked those two together.
Yeah.
She had linked love and pain together.
It's it exists really. I've heard that before, and I think also like it's like a learned self helplessness kind of. You know, like we just go for that, even though we don't want it. We don't want the pain, but we just go that way. It's like you said, we're designed that way. It's like a flaw. I don't know. It's something going on. It's just. It's not even. It's not. I don't understand it though. But we create our own suffering quicker because we can control both and we can create both. But no one have realized that you can create actually your joy. They think they have to work for it, but you don't work for creating your suffering. You know, you just manifest them just like that. Oh my God, I can't do this. You just said it. You know, it's like why can't you just say, oh, I'm capable of this? Why don't you believe in it already, right? But we always believe the opposite. That's gonna stop us.
Right. It's almost like someone who, you know, is always saying, like, I'm so terrible at
Mm-hmm.
direction. And they find themselves, they're always lost somewhere. You know, they can't get around without needing so many extra things. Or they say, you know, remind me once again, you know, I'm terrible at names. Remind me
Mm-hmm.
again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they say it sounds so innocent. It sounds like just an offside comment,
Yeah,
you know. But they keep saying they're terrible at names over and over and over again. How could you remember? You know?
that's true.
How
But
could
we
you remember?
never say anything positive about ourselves. I mean, it's easier to say your defects and mention them like openly and make it like nice. But you just, we don't say the nice things about ourselves. We just don't. It's like it's harder to do the things that are good for us, even though it takes the same effort.
And why wouldn't someone go out of their way to mention the beautiful qualities about themselves or the wonderful qualities about themselves? You know, why
Why
wouldn't
wouldn't
someone?
they?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't they? Why would you go around and say all the things that you're terrible at? And you feel so fine with it, saying it. But you can't mention one thing that you are good at. One thing that you feel like, okay, let me just say this, We just don't do that. We don't do that. But do you see that we are designed that way? Otherwise, why would we do these things to ourselves? Like, why?
because is there a sense of what, pride, or do you feel like you're not being humble if you mention something that you're particularly good at, or is a strength for you
Mhm.
instead of a weakness?
We actually say, like, when people say good things about themselves, we say they're too much. They're full of themselves.
Or they're arrogant,
Yeah.
right?
What's wrong with it?
Or they're bragging or
Exactly.
something.
All the negative things towards the good things that can actually make you good.
You know, it's funny, Nabiha, I love Bruce Lee.
Hmm.
And Bruce Lee was in an interview with a talk show host, and the guy was asking Bruce Lee, how good are you really? Like at kung fu, at martial arts, and at fighting. Like, you're really good, aren't you? Like, you're the best, right? Like, how good are you? And Bruce Lee sat back and he said, you know, if if I tell you I'm good, you'll think that I'm bragging. But if I say I'm no good, you'll know that I'm lying.
Hmm.
You know, I'd be lying, right? If I said, oh no, I'm not good, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But if I tell you I am, you say that I'm bragging, right?
Yeah. And it's the
Oh,
truth.
oh, I'm cocky.
Yeah. We're
And
afraid
so,
to
yeah,
say what we're good at
right.
because of people's perceptions. It's
Right.
connected to the negative. I don't know. Like you bragging or you doing this or
Mm.
you're too much. Or who do you think you are?
Right. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. Who do you think you are? Like, can I
Who do you?
just be whatever I want to be?
Yeah.
Like this. But you see how we are wired? But if
You.
you like, oh, I'm this bad, it's just so normal to say.
Mm.
Completely normal.
We have a comment here by Carla. Shout out to enjoy. Said, I get this at work. I take pride in what I do, and it shows in my work ethics. I get side comments and looks.
Hmm.
She be getting them. She be getting them looks.
just just keep on doing you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You will get those looks. But yeah, keep on doing you, really, because people will always have opinions because we are wired that way. But you can't wait for everybody to realize that. If you want to become the great, the the greatness that you are, you have to act like it. Really, you have to tell yourself that. You have to turn around the way you think. Mentioning everything that you bad at and this and that. It's just, yeah, don't care about what people think, really.
So don't wait for people to witness your greatness. You know.
No, that's not gonna happen. You will be keep on waiting because everybody don't wake up the same time. That's impossible, and not everybody. If you wake up, just be awake in a dream. That's fine. You don't wait for everybody else to wake up. Be the greatness in the dream because you're creating all of it. Yeah.
Be your own greatness. Be
Yes.
your own greatness.
But we're all waiting for people to validate or to accept or to be in the same level. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So if you want to feel great, just do, feel great, act like it, say it out loud even, yeah, really.
Now, I love this as well, Nabiha. When we were talking about the self-sabotage mechanism,
Hmm.
it reminded me of, if you've ever played a video game, it's almost like sometimes we want or we need a challenge, or maybe even we crave a challenge, you know? Because if something was so easy, think about if you were playing a game like Super Mario Brothers, or what's a video game that you've ever played?
Yeah, I played Super Mario.
Oh, okay, you played Super. Okay, so if you were playing Mario and you got to a level that was just too easy, it was just so easy,
Yeah.
like there was no challenge. Would you want to keep playing?
No, no. I always, like, in the beginning of the game, I'm looking for different, different challenges. So yeah, we like challenges. We do thrive on those things, but hurting yourself, like hurting yourself, that's the part I don't understand.
Okay, so not hurting yourself, but with the self sabotage, sometimes do you feel like we create our own challenges, just like we create our own monsters? Would we create our own obstacles
We do create our own obstacles every day,
to
all the time.
challenge ourselves?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay,
To
okay.
even like stop ourselves from achieving where we're heading, we can stop that by not being aware. When you're not aware, that's what you're doing. Like just having anxiety attacks, it's just stopping yourself because
Hmm.
why are you having it? Just like anxiety is just like when you rush in the future, when you just
Hmm.
like, oh my God, you worry about things that haven't happened. There's a tomorrow that doesn't even exist, so that's stopping yourself from being in the present moment where you will get everything actually, but you're worrying about the tomorrow that don't even exist every day, and then it affects your body, it affects your mind, it affects your reality. It's just you stopped yourself right there. Yeah, we do create our own blocks every day, but when you
Okay.
become aware of it, there's no way you can create it. It's just like being awake in a dream.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
every
And
trap it's not real.
mhm. And even with that level of awareness, with your level of perception, you could reframe or even reclaim something that someone else sees as a block. Like someone could see a stumbling block where you could see a stepping stone,
Hmm.
you know? Someone could see an obstacle, you see an opportunity,
It's all
you
perspective.
know? It's that perspective.
Hmm.
So even the things that we may seem that they're in the way, they could actually be on the way.
Yeah.
They're not in the way.
No.
They're on the way.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
perspective. That's why
Yeah.
I always say, like, freedom, for example, is just a perspective. What is freedom?
Right.
Freedom does not exist to me in a sense. Like, I can't make sense out of it because whatever I think is freedom, it's somebody else's prison.
Oof.
It is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For someone is another person's, freedom could be my prison. So what's the definition of freedom? It's just a perspective.
Right.
It's a
Right.
reflection of your inner desires, basically. What frees
Right.
you is like all the chain that you put yourself, just
Mm-hmm.
releasing that. That's a freedom to everybody. So
Right.
my chain are different from your chains, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who created all of that? Who put you in prison in the first place? Yourself.
Right.
And then
Right. Your
everybody's like trying to get free from their own chain, things that they believed in and things that hold them back, things that are not making them move forward as they want. But all of that is this chain that we have created, the monsters that we have created, right?
mm-hmm.
So minds are different from yours. So there is no one freedom.
Exactly. So what freedom could be for someone, it could be a prison for someone else. Just
Hmm.
like they say, someone's trash could be someone else's treasure.
Hmm.
Like someone could see this book, you know, on the side
Yeah.
of the road and think that this is trash. you know, but to me,
Yeah.
it's a treasure.
Hmm.
You know, there's a whole world in here,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And it's allowing me to expand myself in brand new ways, you know. But someone else will look at that same book
And then
and won't
rip
even,
it.
right? They won't give it a say.
They just rip it up. You know. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It,
So
you
it's
know.
all perspective and it's all
Hmm.
mind. That's how
Hmm.
simple life is. It's just all mind and it's all perspective. So whatever content in your mind, that's your reality. You know, you can empty it, you can change it, you can, modify it. It's just going to be your reality, you know. It's nothing but the content in the mind that's your reality, really.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You know, Carla said, I find it challenging with trying to help my elders with this mindset, but they are stuck in the bubble.
Hmm. They have like heavier chain, you know. Some chains get rusty, you know. You can get loose. So this sometimes the truth can hurt some people. So they used to those chains and they used to those little, prisons and those boxes that they've created for themselves. So sometimes I leave people in their comfortability because sometimes getting them loose will hurt them more. Yeah, they forgot how to walk. Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, you something you said, it gave me goosebumps one time because when you talked about change and chains, there's a quote by Warren Buffett and it said that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken.
Hmm.
And I said, ooh, we, you know, they're too light to be felt. They're so
Yeah.
subtle, right? The chains of habit. You can't even perceive them at first. Like they're not even there until they're weighing you down. You know,
Hmm.
they're burden. It's like you're over encumbered. It's too much. Now you
Yeah.
can't even break free
Yeah.
from those chains.
That's what I mean. They can be rusty. You
Yeah.
can't even, yeah. So it's like you leave some people where they are comfortable at sometimes instead of hurt them, you know. So like my parents, I know that they're conditioned in a religion, and those chains are rusty, you know. But I leave them in there where they are comfortable. I don't need to, get them loose or tell them to get loose or like this or that. I just know. Yeah. But we have a lot of chains that are just like, the settled ones. We can get loose from that, really, before they get too heavy.
Right. So just like Carla said, you know, with someone in their bubble, you're saying sometimes it's better to leave them in the bubble of their own beliefs than to try and burst their bubble.
Mm-hmm. Because they might fall. They won't know how to fly, so no, you can't do that.
What was a time when you burst someone's bubble and it popped back on you? You know, that you realized that bursting other people's bubbles was something you shouldn't do.
Um, it happened a few times when I tried to explain the non-duality, and it made some people depressed. Like, oh, I just want to sleep and I don't want to wake up, and if this is not real. And then they took over, to another level. So they became really sick, like mentally. And it was like, okay, it was better when they were living in their bubble because this information they were not ready for it. So I never share information to people. I just be around them. But I can see, like, okay, this person's not ready for that. I won't hurt them. But you can put people in bed, like wondering, like, oh my God, this doesn't exist. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. They make up their whole monsters in their head, by the information you gave them because how people perceive information, we're not responsible for that. I can just give you the information, but how you perceive it, that's your responsibility. And I have no clue how you perceived it. So, yeah, I don't share information like that. They'll never
Wow.
go back to normal otherwise. Yeah.
So they were forever
Hmm.
changed.
not ready.
Okay.
It's
So you,
like, you're not ready. You don't have the wings, and I tell you to jump, and you jump.
right,
That's how it is. And
right.
they hurt themselves.
They do say that if a caterpillar is going through the chrysalis, and it's in its cocoon going through its metamorphosis, and you
Yeah,
try to pry open that cocoon, it
yeah,
won't be able to fly.
no.
It has to
Or
do it
even
on its own.
survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same. So it takes a process to create those wings, for those wings to grow on you, and then you can jump. But if you just tell people like, hey, just jump, they haven't had the time to grow the wings. And it's a process that you go through, awareness, realizations of the self only. And once you realize, you will know you have the wings, so you can jump. But if I just tell you, jump, I jumped, and I'm flying, like, oh, no, it's not going to work like that. No, I've learned my lesson. Hmm.
And you would say that lesson that you learned, it's followed you till today.
Oh, yeah. I know what I'm sharing. I know how much I share. And just because of, not everybody are the same. Everybody will take this differently. Yeah. It can be the one message, the same message, and 100 interpretations of the same message.
Yeah. Have you ever played a game called Telephone, Nabiha?
No? What kind of game is that?
It's a very interesting game. It can be very interesting. So picture a room full of people in a circle,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like gathered around a fireplace, almost like a kumbaya, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just in a huge circle, a whole group of people, and they're all in chairs. And so one person says one message
Oh,
to the
yeah.
person to their left, and then that person giggles a little bit, and then they say the same message to their person to their left, and then they say the same, and it goes all the way around the circle. By the time it gets to the last person, it's a completely different
Yeah.
message.
Yeah. That's the same.
Completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. This thing, it doesn't, yeah, I've played the game like that when I was a kid, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part of it. It's just completely different because of everybody would just, whatever they heard, right? And, but the other one is just like the message is in front of you. And some people won't perceive it because they're not ready. And some other people would. So that's another way of awareness. If the message is there for you to receive it, then you'll see it clearly. But two people can be right next to each other and then have one message in front of them. It's completely different for them. It's what they're ready for, I guess.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of my favorite shows back in the day when I was watching a lot of TV shows. It was called Westworld. And there were guests, which were the humans of this amusement theme park in Westworld. But then there were also the robots or the androids or this artificial intelligence people who didn't even know that they were robots. Like they didn't know that they were AI. They thought they were human too, but they had been programmed. So the operators, the humans, if they didn't want you to see something in front of you, you wouldn't be able to see it. And so this lady had asked this gentleman who didn't know he was a robot, what about this door over here? And he said, what door? She said, right, right there. He was like, doesn't look like anything to me. You know? And that was a line,
Yeah.
that was a line in the show, a recurring theme, like, doesn't look like anything to me. He physically could not see what was right there in front of him. And like,
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was like we do the same thing.
Yeah. Every day.
You know?
Every
Yeah.
day. There are things that we can walk on the same street. I see different things. You see different things. It's all about your awareness from within. I can see the nature. I can see all these trees. I can be walking there and I can see a ladybug. But someone would just pass by. They would not even see that, right? So it's different, but it was there.
Right. Speaking of which, like, One time I was with my mom and I spent some time with her, and we were outside one day, and she doesn't spend a lot of time outside. She spends a lot more time indoors around the computers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And she happened to be outside, and I was like, Mom, do you hear that? She was like, what? Hear what? I was like, listen. She's like, hear what? I don't. What do you want me to? What am I listening for? I was like, you don't hear those birds?
Wow.
You know, the birds chirping. You don't hear that? And when I said it, then all of a sudden she was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
I do hear it now. I didn't even hear it.
Yeah. And that's true. That's true. When I sit outside, I can hear the birds, but I can promise you that some other people that sit with me are not listening to it. And I'm like, you don't hear that? It's like so loud. It's so loud. Like really, it's so loud. But you can be deaf to it. You can be deaf to it. Like I'm so glad. I've never been deaf to nature because I grew up in nature. But I know people that are. And it's like, you don't hear that? Really? They can hear the crows because they're like so loud, but the blackbirds, they won't hear those. In the afternoon, the birds are actually chirping like differently. In the morning, there are different songs. There are different songs, but some people cannot hear that. It's just the way it is. Some people are blind to some things that you see and deaf to certain things. Yeah.
There was a period of time that I was I was at my father's house, and all the videos that I put on YouTube and all the live videos that I put on Instagram during that time,
Hmm.
you can go back and you can actually listen, and you can hear a beep, beep. Like every now and then you hear this beep, right?
Hmm.
It was the fire alarm.
Yeah, that was my fire alarm.
And the fire alarm was going on, but not only was it going on, not only could I not hear it because it had been so long that the battery needed to be replaced and changed, it had been like that for years.
Are you talking about mine or yours now?
No, no, at my father's house, the
Whoa.
alarm, it had been like that for years, and neither one
Yeah.
of us could hear it until I
Wow.
left and came back. When I came back, I heard it, and I was like, Dad, do you hear that? He was like, hear what, Junior? And I was like, that's the fire alarm. Like, he was like, what? And I replaced the battery when I came back because, I heard it now,
Wow.
but it had been years, years.
I had
Nobody
one for a
replaced it.
year too. You don't remember all the lives that we had? It was like ding, ding. And people were like the fire alarm. I heard mine, really. I heard that every day. It used to bother me. But, nobody else heard it. And I just didn't know where to change it. I didn't know where it was. I was just too late. I don't know. But I heard it until somebody on my life told me, like, hey, change the battery. I had to change after that when they say change the battery. But yeah, you can become accustomed to it. It's so ridiculous. You can become accustomed to anything. Like even when you live in the city, all those noises, you're accustomed to that. Only when you go to the country or like somewhere very quiet would you know, like, oh my God, this peace. Like I needed this peace. But you kind of like got accustomed to whatever noises that you find peace in that too, I guess. I don't know.
We
Yeah.
can, we can. What you say is so true, Nabiha. We can become accustomed to anything,
Yeah,
you know, and it's so subtle that often we are not even aware unless it is brought to our attention.
exactly.
You know,
But it has an
it's it,
effect too. That's the problem that we don't know. It actually
say
has an effect, a lasting effect on us. Because if you just leave that, you get accustomed to something like your body is doing something, your body is reacting to it too. So you're doing some damages without knowing about it. That's how I see it. Really, like having that ding ding for a whole year. Yeah, it did something to my body. Like my mental, it did something to me. I know that. I think about it sometimes. Well, how did I go on for a whole year with that? Imagine.
exactly, exactly, and that's the same question that I ask myself. Like, how did I go on this long? With the lack of
Yeah.
awareness. You know,
Yeah, I
how
was
did?
listening
Yeah,
to one of your open palm podcasts, and I hear that ding. I'm like, oh my god, that's my alarm. Somebody sent me, they're like, your alarm is on the podcast too. I'm like, okay, now I need to change it. So I had to rip that thing off from the wall. Really, it was, how could I do that? It was so weird for so long.
you didn't change the battery. You just ripped it out.
Yes, I just took it off. It was, it was too much, you know? Wow. And it was so simple. I could have done it so long ago. But we
Right.
just let it go and let it go and let it go and let it go. That's weird. That's what I mean by we are so good at, hurting ourselves and creating our obstacles, creating our sufferings. It's just I'm a true believer of that we create our sufferings every day, subconsciously, every day. Yeah.
Wow, getting used to that level of stimulation and not recognizing those subtle sensations, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it reminds me when I went into that retreat at the Intermountain Vipassana Center
Oh yeah.
in Idaho. When we went into the retreat, we knew we were going to go into 10 days of silence, 10 days, no talking, no journals, no writing, no music, no entertainment, no physical touch, no sexual misconduct, no nothing of any kind,
I need that.
no interactions. And we all turned in our cell phones, right? The first day, the day of orientation,
Mm-hmm.
we had to turn in our cell phones. Everyone had to do it. And, some people were very reluctant to turn in their cell phones.
Wow.
I got it out the way. I put it, in my bag and just gave it to them. I was like, here, you take it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then, other people were trying to get their last, little scrolls in, scrolling, like, let me see what's on the timeline. Let me see, I don't want to miss anything.
Wow.
And then they finally turned it in. Once we went through the 10 days of silence, of presence, just finding solace in our own solitude, by the 10th day or the last day, which was actually day 11, when they were handing back our cell phones, some people didn't even want it.
Ooh. Yeah.
It was like we were reluctant to take them back. Now, some people were like, oh, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let me see all my emails and all the messages and all the stuff
Yeah.
that I missed. But other people were a little bit,
I would
you know,
be
hes-
them.
hesitant,
Yeah.
because that's a lot of stimulation coming back into your
Yeah.
field, you know?
That's, yeah. Well, you see, we got used to all of these things too. Nobody used to do this. Like the phone is an addiction thing, scrolling, going in there, all of this kind of stuff. But we just get accustomed to it. It's so settled. Everything is so settled. All addictions are so settled. It's all addictions. But then again, if you think about everything is created by the mind, like the things that we are feeling, the things that we are accepting, everything is capturing, then it creates our reality every day. So it's the dangers of it. Like if you really create all your sufferings, then all you see is suffering. It's like challenges. Like why is life so challenging? For example, why? Like if you look at nature, if you look at everything is just going with the flow. The only people that go against the flow are humans. And that's why that's the suffering. We go against the wave, that's the suffering, you know. So that's what I believe. We are just conditioned to go against the flow. Yeah.
And is there no way to grow if you go against the flow?
It's not like, people are reaching heights by going against it, but it's just, I don't know. You could just done it smoothly. We're going with the flow, like going with the wave, like where it's heading instead of going against it. Yeah. But I think, yeah, I don't know. Humans, we are just, I don't know why we are designed that way, really, just to against ourselves. It feels like, even waking up to this dream, we keeping ourselves sleep. Like Only we can wake ourselves up. You know, nobody like can wake you up. Only you can wake up. Like you can see people walking around and you wonder like, why am I sleeping? And then you wake up, but nobody can make you. So when you wake up, it's your responsibility to see everything, right? To acknowledge everything. Instead of things happening to you, you need to start happening to it. Yeah. Normally, like everything is happening to us because we operate through the subconscious every day. Like we don't know what we're doing. So imagine knowing what you're doing. You see the traps. You go the outside. You know. Yeah, that's the game itself. It doesn't have to be challenging.
Right, right. And I like how you said nobody else can wake you up. You know, you have to wake yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what did Morpheus tell Neo when he gave him the options, you know? He said, you take the blue pill, you know, the story ends,
Yeah.
right? You stay in the fairy tale land, you go back to your polo sheets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your pillow, you go back to the world that you knew. But you take the red pill, you know, you see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah. It's just yeah. That's we all have stories we can actually just slip and just be in that dream because that's the dream we see. But yeah, you need to be awake in the dream. Really, someone can wake you up, but you'll be sleepwalking. You know, you need somebody to hold your hand. It's like you're still not up. You'll be sleepwalking. But once you wake up on your own, that's it. You can play all characters consciously.
so the red pill for you, that turning point moment where you took the red pill,
Hmm.
that was that for you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There was no going back.
No, because you can't go back to the dream. You know it's a dream. You know, you can't go back to it. It's like there's no way you can. That's why I say sometimes I wish I was asleep. You know, there are certain things that you wish you were just asleep, right? But yeah, once you're up, you're up. There's no way going back to sleep. You know, you up, you up. That's how I feel like, and it's just more to find. You know, while you're up, because now you can see everything. You can play with it. You can have fun. You know, because now you know it's a game. It's a dream. You're up, right? Instead of like believing that you were the dream or that everything in the dream is just real. Like now you know it's not real.
Right, right. So that's reminiscent, you know, that moment at the end of the Matrix. You know, Neo is in this big old hallway. The agents, they've basically, you know, riddled his body with bullets.
Mm.
But then he woke up. He got up and he realized like he was untouchable. You know, it was like a dream. It was like he was in a dream. It actually looked like he had the realization, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah.
And they turned around and they saw, oh wait, he's standing. He's supposed to be dead. I watched him die. He's not dead. He's standing. Then they shot at him again, and when they shot at him again, he stopped the
Yeah.
bullets.
Hmm.
The bullets stopped.
Yeah. They're not real. I've
And,
had dreams like that.
like
Yeah.
he looked at the bullet. He like took the bullet. He looked at the bullet,
Yeah.
and then he dropped the bullet, and the other bullets dropped.
Yeah.
And it was like in that moment they were like, oh, okay, you know.
You
Then
dodge
that
bullets.
you know they realized, you know, he wasn't playing games anymore.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
he
It's
became
just it's the same realization with life, where like those bullets are not real, even though they kill you. You can get killed, so don't think like, oh, I can capture a bullet, or it's not real. But the truth is, it's not. It's not. But you made it so real that it will kill you. It we think it's so real that it will kill us, because the killing part is also real in our mind, right? But the truth is just like that, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. And so much treasures in it, you can find a lot of things in the dream. Yeah.
I do agree when you talk about the treasures that we can find when we realize, and free our mind. There's so much that you can find because after that moment, you know, he was able to do so much more when he, just like the boy who told him there is no spoon,
Mm-hmm.
just like you, when you escaped the box when you realized there was no box to begin with.
Yeah.
There was never a box, you know? So it unlocked when
Yeah.
you realize there's no
Exactly.
box. Yeah.
Exactly. The problem for us is like, we all think that we have to learn something new or, go after something. It's just it's the unlearning that would unlock stuff. Is that you believe that you're not capable of something. Once you let go of that belief, then you will be capable. It's not like, you have to go and get it and, and learn it. But you have to unlearn that what makes you actually incapable of whatever you're capable of, what made you that way, what made you disabled this way, right? So if you go back in the mind and be like, okay, you know what? Why do I think I can't? Who told me I can't walk on water? Like, why? Why do I think I sink? Why do I believe that I'll get wet? Like all of that. If all of that goes away, then I can walk on water. It's just a belief that I can't that is disabling me.
Wow. Wow. I
Yeah.
love this. I love this. You know, who told you that you can't? Who made you think you're not? You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the spoon that you're talking about. It's like, who told you it's a spoon there in the first place? you know,
Mm.
it's like you're looking at an object, you believing in it made it appear there.
Mm.
But if you don't believe in it, it disappears.
Mm.
So you're not moving and teleporting anything. You're just unbelieving it's something that disabled you already. Like,
Mhm.
okay, that thing is really there. Like, how can you be so sure?
Mhm.
How can you be so sure? Just made it disappear by not believing in it
Right.
because it's not there in the first place. You made it appear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it seems if you can do it for the small things, then you can do it for all things.
Yes. Yes. I think then the non-duality will click for you somehow. You'll understand it. It's something to understand, but you will become that. You'll know there's nothing actually. Everything is just mind. It appears with the mind, it can disappear with the mind. Like you can make it appear, disappear. It's because there's no sense of time. There's no sense of, dense thing. There's no sense of this reality because it's just the mind, right? So unbelieving it, you can appear, disappear. Yeah. It appears to you, right now, there's a tree right there because I believe in it.
Right. 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 There was
What if I didn't believe?
right, right. What you said about appearing and disappearing. There's one more thing that came to mind. And one of my friends, she's from Australia, and she was at a party one time, a get together, and her ex came along. Her ex boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, oh my god, he can't see me right now. He cannot see me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just kept thinking over and over and over, like a mantra. She repeated like, he doesn't see me, like I'm not here, like he doesn't see me. She kept repeating like, he can't see me. And do you know that her ex-boyfriend that she had been with for
Mm-hmm.
years, right? He walked by her as if she was some random, he didn't even recognize her.
Yeah.
He just walked by her like she was invisible.
Yeah.
She
She
was
made him
invisible.
invisible for him.
She
Made herself invisible for him. Yes. But yeah, you can become
said
invisible like that.
he just walked right by.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't have missed her.
I believe that because
Yeah.
What made you think the person sees you? You believe that they see you, they see you. You believe that they don't see you, they don't see you. It's the same thing. If I can create this, I have to be able to create the opposite. Right? If I make myself appear here, I should be able to make myself disappear. Because it's all in the mind. Yeah. That's my opinion, of course, but I really believe that way. You know?
Well,
Like, what
you
makes you think
will.
this object is here?
You know, when you believe that way, you receive that way. You know,
So
sure.
the practice is the practice to me is just, asking why do I think this way in the first place? Removing that thought. Because that's the barrier. That I can't fly right now is because I believe that I can't fly. Not that I cannot, but I believe that I can't fly. So if I remove that I cannot, I should be able. Why not? Why not? Because it's just in the belief. When you believe in something, that's when it exists. If you don't
Yeah.
even believe in something, the things that we don't believe in, they don't exist. But doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Right. Mm.
It's just we don't believe in it. Like if we believe in these aliens that people believe in, like if we believe in it hard enough, it will just appear right in your face because everything is just here anyway. And it's just connected to our belief. Whatever we are capturing with our consciousness, that's why it appears. But it doesn't mean it's just limited to this. It's a lot of things that we don't believe that's around us. But it's just because we don't believe, we don't see. Yeah.
So just that question, why not? Those two words, why not? So powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. Why not?
You can do the opposite. You can do this too.
Yeah.
It's the same. You can make yourself sick. You can make yourself well. It's the same
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
We are really, if you just notice that it's just mind, then you know you can make magic.
Hmm. Hmm. And why not?
Yeah.
Why
Why
not
not?
you?
Yeah.
And why not now? Why
Exactly.
why
Why
not?
not? Why not? Why not? Really? It's just simple as that. Why not? I sometimes I think I was thinking about it this morning actually. I'm like, is it anything that I feel like it's a risk that's very dangerous and it's like that I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't do that because of this. There are none. Really, because not trying something to me is like more dangerous. Or not finding out anything is more dangerous to me. I'm like, what do I have to lose actually? I can't just sit comfortably until I die and believing that death is going to come and then I just sit comfortably. But if I just explore everything, if I just question everything, then I make life more fun, you know, and then I'll figure out more treasures, like different things. So, no, I have nothing to lose by just saying why not and why not questioning everything. Nothing to lose. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for choosing to, say why not today and just come on here for us. Always enjoy being in your space, being in your energy field. There's so much
Likewise.
that we just continue to reveal.
Yeah, likewise. And thank you everyone for being here. And thank you for Qigong again. Nice.
Always. Always.
All right.
Always.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon.